Hey everyone, Layla here, and welcome to my 2019 bullet journal setup. Prior to the video, I had gone through and done preliminary sketches of the page setup so that I could go ahead and get right into the inking and coloring of each page. Also, so that this video doesn't end up being an hour long. As some of you may know, this is my first bullet journaling experience. I am mostly an artist that focuses on fantasy art and design, but I feel that having a bullet journal this year would help with my overall workflow and with tracking my progress and social media accounts. I also figured if I'm taking this journey, I'd like to share it with you all, and I'm really curious to see how this journal ends up at the end of the year. I've always been into journaling, but never this artistically, and as someone who constantly just searches for journals in depth, just to find one that really vibes with me in both design and functionality, I figured this bullet journal trend would be the best option for me. It's such a great idea to just create a very specific, very detail-oriented journal catered exactly to your needs. Because no pages are wasted, it features your own designs, and it's just really great for de-stressing. So here I am working on the very first pages. I have my key on one side and my index on the other. The designs I'm showing here are related to a video game that I grew up on, and I've loved to this day. The key design is a keyblade from the game Kingdom Hearts, which is a Square Enix and Disney mashup game. And then on the other side is a Paopu fruit. Yes, kind of a weird name. But in the game, it has a very interesting backstory. According to legend, if two people share one, their destinies become intertwined and they'll remain a part of each other's lives no matter what. So this gives the fruit great symbolic meaning throughout the story of the game, and this isn't a theme that I followed throughout my 2019 planning, but it's just a nice touch that I did for these two individual pages. So the next page is pretty simplistic and very self-explanatory. Both pages include an extended index, and from everything I've read about bullet journaling, a few experienced bullet journalists mentioned to have good space for your index. I'm not 100% sure if I'll be using all 3 pages. In fact, I'm pretty sure I may only use one, but who knows? I'd rather have too many than not enough. And I mean, this is my first bullet journaling experience, so I'm just testing things out right now. And so at the bottom, I put a pretty simple design of stars on one page and hearts on the other. The markers I'm also using are the Tombow dual brush pens, which I use to just add color pretty much for this entire spread and for the all of my pages. So on the next page is the heart of the journal, I feel. This is the quote for the year, and it's heavily influenced from Interstellar, one of my favorite movies that I watch literally at least once a year, if not twice, or 3 times. The quote is a line said by Cooper, and it reads, "Our greatest accomplishments cannot be behind us because our destiny lies above us." And it's very inspirational to me because I often feel that as we grow older, we often believe our greatest days are when we're in high school or in college, or when we've celebrated a huge milestone such as marriage or children or career options. And all of that is great and amazing, but what happens after that? The quote to me is that our entire lives can be filled with so much more accomplishments than we think. And our greatest days are always ahead of us and not behind us. And I'm also inspired by space and the accomplishments that humans have made there, and the quote just always makes me think of the future and what the human race as a whole will have accomplished in the future, and where will we be? So it just gives me a lot of hope. So the art that I made to go along with this is one of the sky, which was very daunting to do. Working with Tombows, which are water-based markers, aren't always the easiest for me. But I really wanted to create a very rich sky, and I struggled with this. But in the end, I feel it all came together. next page, I have my At a Glance page and Events page. At the top, I did some stars and the year, and then went through to do each day for the month. Afterwards, I colored each month a bright, beautiful color, and then moved on to the Events page. For the Events page, I do just a uniform rectangular box for each month, and I just highlight the month in the same color as the At a Glance page so that they kind of correspond with each other. And on the bottom, I write At a Glance and Events for the corresponding pages, and lastly, I did drop shadows for the boxes and put in more star designs to fill in any empty space. Next up is my resolutions page, which I figured I'd have following in the same space sort of theme, where I draw large circles representing planets, where I write down the resolutions inside, and I also name each planet for the type of resolution. So for instance, I have health, family, social, creative, and media. I also am not the best hand letterer, and I'm mentioning this now because I feel it really shows with this particular spread. So I'm definitely going to be writing down hand lettering to be one of my creative resolutions this year. I'm hoping to see how it compares at the end of the year. And finally, at the bottom of this page, I include a simple quote that says, "Be happy with what you have while working for what you want." And now we have my favorite page, my period tracker spread. Tracking my monthly is very important to me as I have PCOS, which is basically a hormonal condition that requires me to be very detailed when it comes to things like my monthly. That said, I'm a horrible tracker with this, so I'm really hoping that this beautiful spread truly encourages me to keep better track of this. So I named the tracker Aunt Flo, and drew a girl on the side in a beautiful dress that I'll end up coloring in red with my Tombows. The inspiration for the girl came from a spread I saw done by Low Key Art on Instagram. I made my girl much different in her posing and dressing and, just different little nuances here and there. But I did want to mention where the inspiration came from. And on the other page is a quote by the late Robin Williams, and it reads, "If women ran the world, we wouldn't have wars, just intense negotiations every 28 days. And I thought it was very cute and fitting, especially coming from one of my favorite comedians and actor. last two pages for this 2019 setup is my social media tracker and my Learn Spanish tracker. So I called my social media tracker the Social Network, which I felt was cute and fitting. And basically, I just wanted to track different statistics here. So each month, I'll be writing down how many Instagram followers I gained, how many Facebook page likes I gained on my art page, how many subs I gained on YouTube, Twitter followers, Tumblr followers, and lastly, Redbubble sales. I also felt it was fitting to include each app icon for decoration and have the box's colors in the chart tracker correspond with that. On the other page, I have my Learn Spanish page, which is another resolution this year that I have. I myself am Hispanic, my mother being born and raised in Puerto Rico, and my father being born and raised in Colombia. My father immigrated to the US when he was in his late teens, and he learned English, met my mother, and they got married. When it came to having children, he felt very strongly not to teach us Spanish, because he felt we were American and wanted us to fit in. A decision that he would later regret. So now that I'm older, I figured it's time to take it seriously and learn, especially since my significant other was born and raised in Cuba and often tells me how much he'd love to speak his first language with me. And so now I'm doing a real-time flip through for you all to see the final results of my setup. One thing I did want to mention was that I did go back to the 2019 quote spread page, and I kept changing and adding a few things and just filling in and editing it off camera. And I'm actually really glad that I did, because now it feels much more complete and whole. And the biggest things that I love about it now are the white constellations that I added and the gold stars at the bottom. And that's that. I really hope you all enjoyed my setup, and I really hope you guys stick around for my January plan with me that's coming soon. And maybe comment, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you all next time. Thanks, guys. Bye.